Hi students, welcome to online class. So today we are going to discuss about chapter 7 Python functions. In this chapter we are going to discuss about the last topic, recursive function. So what is mean by recursive function? See, when a function calls itself is known as recursion. So whenever a function is calling by itself, then that is called recursion. See here the definition is given here. When a function calls itself, so that is called recursion. Right. Is there any difference between recursion and a loop? See, recursion is different from loop. What is recursion? A function is calling by itself. So, whenever we call the function, inside the function definition, there will be a function call. That function will call the same function. So, that is what here they are saying. When a function calls itself, so the same function is called by itself. But what about loop? Loop means some set of statements. Body of the loop, we used to call it as set of statements or block of statements, is going to be repeated for a certain number of times. Based on the condition, the loop will work. See here, recursion works like a loop, but sometimes it makes more sense to use recursion than loop. See, whenever we go for the loop concept, we can use for a repeated addition or multiplication, or repeatedly we want to print the numbers. So in those places we can use the loop. But whenever we use the concept called recursion, we should be very, very conscious. So, what is the concept we are using? So, based on that, we want to use the recursion. Right. You can convert any loop to recursion. So, the loop can be converted into recursion in a easier manner. And then again they have given the definition. A recursion function calls itself. A recursive function calls itself. See, they are giving another example, or no need to say like an example. Imagine a process that would iterate indefinitely if not stopped by condition. See, if there is no condition, a particular process is going on executing repeatedly. So that is called, such process is called infinite iteration. See, a particular process is not stopped by some condition. For example, you take a loop. Whenever the loop is executing, it is controlled by the condition. At all times, the condition will not be true. At any point of time, the condition becomes false. At a particular point, the condition becomes false. So, based on the condition or depends upon the condition, the iteration will be going on executing. At one particular time, the iteration stops. Right? The loop will stop. But whenever there is no condition, you think of that. Whenever there is no condition means the loop will be going on executing. So whenever the loop is going on executing, then that is called infinite. Finite means finite numbers. Finite numbers means a set of numbers. We can say that it is a countable one. That is called finite. But infinite means it is uncountable. Right? So, whenever a process is not stopped by a condition, then that process will be going on executing. So, such type of process is called infinite iteration. Right? Whenever we use the condition in a recursive function, so what is the name of the condition? See, whenever we are using a condition inside the recursive function or in the recursive function, then that condition is called as base condition. That particular condition is called as base condition. And then a base condition is must in every recursive function, otherwise it will continue to execute like a loop, that is infinite loop. See here, a base condition is very must in every recursive function, otherwise it will be executing, it will continue to execute like an infinite loop. I think you might have understood this. What is mean by infinite iteration? Infinite iteration means without condition, if a process is going on executing, then that is called infinite iteration. So what is mean by base condition? Whenever the condition is used in the recursive function, then that condition is called a base condition. The base condition is very must. Why? Because whenever there is no base condition, then it will be going on executing like an infinite loop. Right. Now we are going to discuss about the overview, how the recursive function or recursive function works. Simply we can say that working of recursive function. Right. See, the recursive function is called by external code. See, the function will not call automatically without any coding, without any program. So we want to give the coding. So based on that coding only, the recursive function calls itself. So recursive function is called by some external code. If the base condition is met, then the program gives you the meaningful output and exit. So what is the meaning of the line? If there is no base condition, what will happen? The loop will be going on executing. So whether you will get the correct output, whether you can get the output in a perfect manner, no, it is not possible. So whenever the condition is inside the recursive function, then only you can get some output. The output will be a finite output. The output will be a meaningful output. Otherwise, the output will not be a meaningful one. The output will be going on executing. So, whenever the base condition is met, then the program gives you the meaningful output. And then, otherwise, function does some required processing and then calls itself to continue recursion. See, if the base condition is not met, then what will happen? The function will be going on executing. The function calls itself. And then the recursion concept will be going on executing. So, at some particular time, at some particular point, there should be some condition. Then only we can get the meaningful output and then we can exit from the program. Right. Now we can see some example program. Then we can go for the practically. We can go and see the practical working of factorial function, that is recursive function. So here I have shown you the function name. What is the name of the function? Fact is the function name. So here this fact is the recursive function. Fact is the recursive function. Right. You know about factorial. You might have studied in maths. So in the lower classes itself you have studied factorial. Whenever the teacher asks you to find out the value of 3 factorial. So how will you find out the value of 3 factorial? So 3 into 2 into 1. So 3 into 2, 6. 6 into 1, 6. So the value of 3 factorial is 6. So here what happens means, whenever we give a number, the number is multiplied with another number by reducing -1. If I take 3 factorial, so I should multiply 3 into 2. So 3 is reduced by minus 1, so it becomes 2. So 3 and 2 should be multiplied. Then again next value, that is 2 minus 1. So 2 should be reduced by minus 1 and then 2 should be multiplied with 1. So like that, if I take 5 factorial, how will I find out the 5 factorial? So 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So 5 fours are 20. 20 into 3, 60. 60 into 2, 120. Again 120 into 1, 120. You might ask another question, sir, why we want to stop up to 1? We can go to 0. We can go to 0, but the whole term will becomes 0. Why? Whenever we multiply a number with 0, then automatically the result will be 0. For example, you take a 3 factorial, 3 into 2 into 1 into 0. If I take up to 0, what will happen? You see, 3 into 2, 6. 6 into 1, 6. When I multiply 0, 6 into 0, so anything is multiplied with 0, it becomes 0. So that's why we are stopping up to 1. So the last number in the factorial is 1. Right, now let's see the program. How to find out the factorial of a number. How to create a program to find out the factorial of a number using recursion concept. So here we are not going to find out the factorial alone. We are going to find out the factorial of a number using the recursion concept. Right. What is the function name? Fact is the function name. And then here I have given you one one parameter. What is the parameter? N. So n is the parameter. So that particular parameter needs one value from the function call. That parameter needs one value from the function call. Right, let's see this. If n is equal to 0, so first itself we are seeing the condition. If n is equal to 0, so if the n value is 0, then what will happen? What is the statement? Return 1. 1 will be returned to the function call. But if the n value is not equal to 0, if the n value is not equal to 0, that is n value is other than 0, so condition becomes false. So we go to the else part. So what is in the else part? Return n into fact of n minus 1. Return n into fact of n minus 1. So now we are going to the function call. So when we call the function, print fact of 0. Print fact of 0. So now what is the argument I am going to what is the argument I am going to pass? 0 is the argument I am going to pass. So when I pass 0, 0 will be assigned to n. So now what is the value of n? N becomes 0. So it goes to the body of the function, that is block of statement. So what is the first block? If condition. So now the n value is 0. So if 0 is equal to 0, whether the condition is true or false. So the condition is true. So when the condition is true, return 1. So that's why you can see the output as 1. That's why you can see the output as 1. Then see the next printing statement. Print fact of 5. Print fact of 5. So now what is the argument we are passing? We are passing the argument called 5. We are passing the argument called 5. Now 5 is assigned to the variable, that is assigned to the parameter n. Now the n value becomes 5. Now again the function definition gets executed. If n is equal to 0, if 5 is equal to 0, what happens? Whether the condition is true or false. So condition becomes false. False means it goes to the else part. So what is in the else part? Return n into fact of n minus 1. So return n into fact of n minus 1 means return 5 into fact of 5 minus 1. So let's see the working. So I have shown you the working here. See here. First time it is called return n into fact of n minus 1. So in this first call it goes with the number 5. So now it goes for the second call. So 5 into fact of 4. 5 into fact of 4. How it becomes fact of 4? It becomes fact of 4 by fact of 5 minus 1. So it becomes fact of 4. Now second time the function is called. Fact function is called. So when the fact function is called second time, now it becomes 5 into 4 into. Now here third call is made by 5 into 4 into fact of 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 means it becomes 3. So now third time the function is called with the value 3. Again fourth time when it goes 5 into 4 into 3 into. So fact of 3 minus 1 it becomes 2. Then again last time the factorial function is called with 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into fact of 2 minus 1 it becomes 1. So fifth time the call was made with the number 1. So the value will be returned from last call 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So as per multiplication we can come from the last 2 into 1 it becomes 2. So 5 into 4 into 3 into 2. Again 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 it becomes 6. So again 5 into 4 into 6. So 4 into 6 it becomes 24. So 5 into 24. So 5 24s are it is 120. Right? So the result will be shown as 120. So whenever we call the function print fact of 5, it shows the output as 120. It shows the output as 120. I think you might have understood this working. Right, let's see this in a practical manner. So open the ideally Python and then we want to open the program. So already I have typed the program and stored it in the folder, separate folder. So it is located in local disk D, programs. So recursive function. Right. So already I have typed the program. So factorial of 5. Right. So when I press F5, now it shows 1 and 120. So factor of 0 is 1. What about factorial of 5? Factorial of 5 is 120. If I want to change and see, for example, instead of 5, if I go with the factorial of 3. So what is the factorial value of 3? 3 into 2 into 1. So 3 2s are 6. 6 into 1, 6. So the output is 6. We can go for another value also. Instead of 3, I can give you 6. So what is the factorial of 6? 6 into 5, 30. 30 into 4, 120. 120 into 3, 260. 260 into 2, 720. Right? Can you understand, students? I think I have done a mistake. Again I repeat, 6 into 5, 30. 30 into 4, 120. 120 into 3, it is not 2. 120 into 3, that is 360. 360 into 2, 720. Right? In the previous time I told a wrong answer. So just I have corrected. So 6 5s are 30. 30 into 4, 120. 120 into 3, 360. 360 into 2, 720. 720 into 1, 720. Right. I think you might have understood this. So let's end the class with this. So with this chapter 7 is over. you can study all the topics. So try to revise all the topics. If you have any doubts, you ask your subject teacher, make a call with the subject teacher. So try to recover all the lessons, try to study all the lessons. So these lessons are very important. So Python lessons, Python programming, chapter 5 to chapter 7, each and every topic is important. So try to take down the notes by seeing the video, and then try to study all the 2 marks, 3 marks as well as the 5 marks. So thank you, students. So let's end the class. Thank you.